What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 69, and we're starting today's episode off with some player training. I've kept the same 5 drills all season long. I just want to get Riga to 80 overall and continue to progress Fagan in his training as well, as he's looking like our breakthrough youth player this year. And it's just now into December as well. I thought I'd show you the top scorer charts in the Premier League. As you can see, Calvert-Lewin right now playing catch up to retake his place as first in the Golden Boot race, now dropping down to second. Top assists in the division as well. You can see Zay, what a start he's had to life at Bramwell Lane in his first full season as Sheffield United. And Dean is third in the clean sheet charts right now with 7 in 40. And I've got to say to Dean as well, that's pretty impressive too. He started the season struggling quite a bit, but since then he's really turned it around. But still, after that as well, we had 3 scouting updates from our scouts currently based in Italy, America, and also England as well. As you can see, no one making our academy just yet. So it's pretty crazy how, like, throughout the entire series we had such a full youth squad. At times we had to release players because our youth academy is so full. Now it's just nothing but tumbleweed in there. There's no one in our academy right now as we look for the next big thing. And also December is now here. Here's a look at our fixtures for the month of December. We've got Man City away, Borussia Mönchengladbach in the final Europa League game, which is meaningless now. Spurs at home, West Ham away, Crystal Palace at home, Southampton away, Everton at home on Christmas Day. We got a Christmas Day fixture, and then Leicester City away at the King Power is our final game in the month of December. So yeah, scheduling problems once again an issue in this year's Premier League, as it always is in Career Mode in December. You've always got a tough run of fixtures, and that's in real life as well, in the game as well, but it is still quite unrealistic playing on Christmas Day, really, but either way. Still, first of 4 games in today's episode as we would travel to the champions, Manchester City away the Etihad Stadium here. Right now, top of the table right now, 14 wins in 15 games. They have been almost perfect, and if you remember last season, that's pretty much what they were doing last year as well, winning every single game and failing to drop points. But in this game, you know, right now on a 3-game win streak, haven't lost a game since the beginning of October away at Old Trafford against Manchester United. I was looking to win this game and become just the second team to beat City this season. I was just looking for a clean sheet and a point. And at half time, as you can see in the first half, City had 62% possession. We hadn't even seen their goal. We literally hadn't even been in range of their goal in the first half. We didn't really care about that. All we were doing is defending. We were just basically putting 2 banks of 4 out there and just saying, come break us down. We're going to contain, you've got to open us up with your creativity, get inside and get your goals that way. Because, you know, normally my game plan on defense is very aggressive pressing. I like to put the pressure on the players in possession of the ball, hunt the ball down and get quick attacks. But in this game, totally the opposite. We had 39% possession, City had 61% of it. And whilst in the second half I did begin to look for counter-attacks, possibly to start pressing a little bit more. That's why City did get 1 chance there through Lo Celso firing that shot wide. For the most part in the entire game, I just said, break us down, boys. Break us down. You want to win this game? You want to extend your win streak? Come break us down and do it the hard way. I'm not going to drag players out of position and give you easy openings in our back line. So a 0-0 draw there, and whilst our win streak does end after 3, that's a very good point. I think we've lost at the Etihad Stadium every time we faced them there, but in that game there, a 0-0 draw, we've conceded so many goals at the Etihad. So I remember in the first season, we shipped 6 there. I think the season afterwards, we shipped 4 there, or perhaps 3 there. I know there's one game in the Cup where we conceded 4 at the Etihad Stadium, but a clean sheet and our first ever point at the Etihad Stadium, I'll take that. That's a very impressive result and a really good draw there for the Blades. So yeah, pleased with the point in there, and most importantly the clean sheet. And following that, on Thursday night, it was time for our final Europa League group game here away against the Germans, Borussia Mönchengladbach, where of course, as we knew, we'd already guaranteed qualifications to knockout stages before our 5th game against Austria Vienna. We already knew we were going through, and tonight all we needed was just a 1 point. Avoid defeat here away in Germany and we will guarantee top spot. And what a start to the game. Ravel Morris having an amazing season in Europe for us this season, made it 1-0. And then just before half-time, Nicholas Wilson, our young left-back, just out of the academy this season, storming down the left, rolls it through to Ravel Morrison, and he does it again. Morrison bags a brace. What a season he is having in the Europa League. I believe that's his 3rd goal in the group stage, to go along with 5 assists, I think it is as well. Morrison in Europe this year has, I would say, probably been our 2nd best player behind Alfredo Morelos. He's been superb, and he scored both our goals in the first half, as Wilson, wearing number 4, had a great first half there. The 17-year-old was playing superbly. So leading by 2, and as things stand, surely on course to cement top spot in the group to make it through to the round of 32. But in the second half, Borussia Mönchengladbach, they really woke up. You know, it was a bit of a meaningless game for both sides because both teams had already qualified for knockout stages. There was very little to play for either team, so it had a bit of a weird atmosphere to it. You know, the final group game of the Europa League, but literally no pressure for either team. No one really cared. But with 18 minutes to go, I did gift Mönchengladbach a goal back there. Trying to play out from the back, gave it away with the youngster Wilson down the left-hand side. Mönchengladbach would get the goal. Barbier couldn't keep it out. He was having a good game up until that point as well. And then with 3 minutes to go, we surrendered a 2-goal lead. Answers on a postcard. How many times have I surrendered a 2-goal lead in this series? It's ridiculous, man. I used to say back in the day, I'm never comfortable just having a 1-goal lead. Well, in this year's FIFA, I'm never comfortable having a 2-goal lead. I've seen us surrender 2-goal leads more than 1-goal leads. But either way, 2-2 the final score. Sadly, we couldn't maintain a 100% record throughout the entire group. We do slip up for the first time on match day 6. Not that it mattered. The point, as we knew, was all we needed to guarantee top spot. And there is your confirmation right there. Sheffield United finished the group undefeated, 5 wins in 6 and a point as well. 16 goals scored and only 2 conceded, both on the final game against Mönchengladbach. We finished top, the Germans in second, Guimaraes in the end finished in third, and Austria Vienna, the Austrian side, finish in 4th place and claim the wooden spoon. So yeah, through to the knockout stage, but we knew that with 2 games to spare, so very happy with our European campaign. I mean, I couldn't really be happier than that. It was such a fantastic campaign for us, securing progress with 2 games to go, finishing undefeated, absolutely brilliant. But still, following that, I did decide to give Ravel Morrison a contract. 3 goals in 6 in the Europa League and 4 assists as well. The man has been on fire in Europe this season, and at 29 years old now, 78 rated. I read the comments. I know a lot of you guys have been saying you should sell Morrison, but it seems like every single season I say this. I think he deserves 1 more year, but I do. His form this year in Europe has been very good, and whilst domestically, admittedly, he hasn't really done too well for us, I think he deserves at least 1 more year here. He didn't ask for a wage increase. We get him on the 40 grand a week, put 1 more year onto his contract, and the reason I did this as well is because at 29 years old, out of contract in the summer, that means we possibly could have lost Ravel Morrison on a free transfer come the end of the season, as clubs can try and poach him away in the January transfer window on a pre-contract. So I felt it was in our best interest there to give him 1 more year. Even if we do plan to sell him next season, at least we won't lose him for free, which was a real possibility. The clubs would be circling around Morrison like sharks right now. They've seen what he's done for us this season in Europe, in limited minutes as well. Because in domestic football, the guy barely plays for us, but they've seen what he's been doing, and I'm sure they would have been thinking possibly we'd get him on a free transfer in his 3rd season, see how he could do for us. But I think 1 more year. I say it every single season. That's why I'm laughing. Every single season, 1 more year. Give him 1 more year, and that's what we'll do with Morris. So we'll keep him until the end of the season at the very least, and hopefully he'll continue his very good form in Europe in the knockout stages as well. Still, 3rd of 4 games today after Morrison signs a new 1.5-year deal, as we will take on Spurs here, back in the Premier League and back at Bramwell Lane as well. Big game this right now. I sat in 6th place, Spurs sat in 3rd place. Already, we're over 10 points behind the team sat in 4th place, Chelsea, right now. This needed to be a win and a return to winning ways after 2 consecutive draws in all competitions, and 35 minutes in, after an impressive start by the Blades, we would get ourselves in front. And who got the goal? Last year's record breaker, Ivan Toney. 40 goals in the Premier League last season, and you might have seen in the pre-game introduction, in the little presentation overlay there, it said history beckoned for Calvert-Lewin this year, and he said the Premier League said that the competition record was 33 goals in a season. What? How short is your memory? Last year we scored 40 with Ivan Toney. What are you talking about? Tony's the record breaker. He's got the record with 40 goals. What's the point in having like that graphic there if it doesn't get updated season last season? That's ridiculous. How can EA not keep the stats like that? Anyway, after the first half we played so well, Mourinho sent the boys out in the second half with an intention of getting back in the game and quickly as well. They started off much stronger in the second half, and Thiago, with a wonderful goal, would put the Spurs back on level terms there with a lovely strike from range, better to the top corner. No chance for Dean as it's 1-1, but whilst we had surrendered our lead, we still were looking the better team out there. And in the 59th minute, after a nice move down left hand side, Tony turns his man, rolls it through to Godfrey, who had actually pushed up to midfield in the second half in the defensive midfield role. He'd stormed forward, he barely gets that far forward, rolled it into Calvert-Lewin, and DCL makes it 2-1 and puts us back in front in the big big game here against Mourinho's men. So Sheffield United 2, Spurs 1, back in front, and deservedly so, I felt as well. We almost made it 3-1 with 16 minutes to go. McBurney having a really good season for us, heading that short cross just wide the post and behind for a goal kick. But in the end, the one goal in the second half we scored was enough. 2-1 was the final score. I felt we deserved the 3 points in that game. Really, really impressive display. And what I liked about the 2 goals as well is you might have noticed both moves started off with Wilfred and Ndidi interceptions. You know, Morelos has come in this season for £28 million. He's been our best sign of the season, no doubt about it so far. But you got to remember, like Ndidi, I don't always show the defensive highlights and the out of possession highlights as well when they lead to nothing. But Ndidi, guys, like I'm telling you now, club record signing, and he's proved every bit worth of that £33 million as well. He intercepts literally everything, the guy. He's absolutely fantastic, and that was a great showdown. I'm so glad that both his interceptions this time led to our 2 goals as well. But still, 4th and final game of today's episode on the back of that win there against Spurs. Now travelling to London to take on West Ham away from home in midweek on Wednesday night. With so many games coming in December, squad rotation is key. So despite the win, we would decide to rotate quite a lot of our players out there and give some bench players some chances as well. But because of that, there was a lack of cohesion in the first half. We were sort of all at sea, really. Weren't knocking the ball around very well, surrendered possession quite frequently, and weren't really playing our natural game. We looked a bit out of sync. West Ham could have been a goal up in the first half, but spurned 2 golden chances. And if you don't take your chances against us, we'll punish you. Just before the break, Alfredo Morelos, who was asking for more game time earlier on in the episode, I thought I'd give him a start in this game ahead of DCL, and what a decision it was. We got 1 chance in the first half, and we took it. We spent really big money on our 2 new signings this year. They are our most expensive and second most expensive signings in club history, but Wilfred Ndidi, who had a great game against Spurs, played a brilliant through ball to the Colombian, and Morelos gets his 4th goal in the Premier League this season and gives us the lead totally against the run of play, despite the stats suggesting otherwise heading into the dressing room. So Morelos with a goal, 1-0 to the Blades. But in the second half, whilst we were defending a lot better than in the first half, we were quite lucky not to concede. With 7 minutes to go, West Ham would find their equaliser. Frank Achiampong received the ball inside the area. I inexplicably started bringing out Dean there to close down the angle, and Achiampong thought, why are you doing that? I'm still several yards from goal. I've got space to roll it across with the through ball and pick out Cullen. That's my area there. I got way too aggressive with Henderson. No need to do that. Surrendered our lead. West Ham 1, Sheffield United 1. Because we still had time to find a winning goal. West Ham had time themselves to find a winning goal. And right before the final whistle, in the 2nd minute of added time, Lanzini rolled it through, and the man that got the assist for the first goal scores the second, as West Ham in the final 8 minutes of the game come from behind to steal the 3 points at the death. Frank Achiampong, who was looking like their best player out there as well, receives the through ball by Lanzini, finds a bit of space, and drills it past Dean to send the fans into celebrations. Final score in London, and you saw Ndidi's reaction there. He had 2 brilliant games for us, but sadly, his efforts come in vain. Final score, West Ham 2, Sheffield United 1, and that's now just 1 win in our last 4 games in all competitions, and 4 points picked up from a possible 9 in the Premier League. We always seem to struggle around this time of the season. We just don't like December. It's not our month. The mid-season struggle is back upon us again. 2 games to go for the halfway point, and as you can see, we're 8 points behind Chelsea in 4th place. If we want to break into the top 4 and qualify for the Champions League, we can't afford more slip-ups like that one. But that was today's episode of Career Mode, guys. Big thank you for watching. We hope you have enjoyed it. If you did enjoy today's episode, please drop a like. Much love to you all, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.